Company made him not only the richest man in American history, but also a target of the antitrust movement of the late 19th century.
So we're currently looking at a Standard Oil delivery wagon that would have been used to deliver products, various oil products from the Standard Oil Company here in Cleveland, Ohio. And on the sideboard, we see various product packaging for other products that were either made by or eventually made by Standard Oil out of the refining process of petroleum here in Cleveland area. Standard Oil, of course, was formed by John D. Rockefeller in 1870 and quickly became one of the largest petroleum companies in the United States. And John D. Rockefeller was a brilliant businessman who had moved to the Cleveland area with his family as a young boy, grew up in the Cleveland area in boarding school, and then eventually working in various companies in the petroleum industry until founding his own company, the Standard Oil Company. And Standard Oil actually comes from John Rockefeller's idea and desire to standardize actually kerosene. Kerosene was what most homes were using as a lighting oil in their lamps. And at the time, kerosene was somewhat dangerous. There was no standardization of it. Some of it would burn hotter and quicker than others, and it would lead to fires in homes. And so John D. Rockefeller was really interested in standardizing that and making a safe product for Americans. And that's really what he was able to achieve with Standard Oil, and even went so far as to build their own safety lamps to burn Standard Oil in, standardized kerosene oil in the homes. And this led to Rockefeller quickly becoming one of the wealthiest men in America, and also becoming one of the most hated men in America, as they called him. The way John D. Rockefeller ran his business, the way he took over other petroleum industries, led to a very bad public image. His business practices were well known as not the best in American business. And it was at that point where his advisors told him he needed to appear even more charitable than he already was. And he began kind of his own campaign where when he was out on the streets, walking around, meeting people, talking to people, he would give out dimes. There became a very large legend behind Rockefeller dimes. And that was really, to be handed a dime at the time, the early 1900s when Rockefeller was doing this, he was giving away actually a large amount of money. And, if you think about, a steel industry worker who might have been, making a couple $100 a week, a dime was a significant amount of money, especially when he'd hand it to children. And, children were able to then go out and buy things, and it was all because of Mr. Rockefeller. He looked, again, like a good guy rather than this bad businessman everyone had come to know him as. So Standard Oil, the company that Rockefeller founded here in Cleveland, quickly became successful, obviously making Rockefeller the wealthy man he was, but it also impacted Cleveland economically. It brought money into the city, but also the ability of Rockefeller to be able to pay his employees a decent wage and allow them to live a good life here in Cleveland. It was just another one of those industries here in Cleveland at the time that was doing so well, like the auto industry, that the citizens of Cleveland had a very good quality of life in this city at the time, thanks to these major industries, be it the auto industry or the petroleum industry that Standard Oil was in, bringing that wealth into the city.